14 days till America. I have nothing prepared, but all I know is that I want to start making YouTube content again. I think this is good. I'm just gonna talk. And then just see what happens. And action. Hi YouTube. If anybody is still here on this channel, I have been very inconsistent with posting content on here, and I don't apologize. I'm gonna make an effort to be more consistent here. I do post a lot of stuff on Instagram, but it's never me talking directly to you guys. So this will be a space where I can just be open and just share whatever's going on in my life. I wrote down in my journal that I just want this to be like a really authentic place where I can just not have any filter and just share in a really open way about the things that have been going on. So you heard it right. I'm coming to America in 2 weeks, and a lot has happened since my last life update. During my year in review, I shared all the things that were happening in my life at the time. The past 4 months have just been like ups and downs and lefts and rights and twists and turns of happiness and sadness and anger and frustration and euphoria, all blended into this life experience, this thing that we call life. I've been trying to be as equanimous, as grounded as possible. Yeah, it's just been really challenging. If you guys are friends with me on Facebook or follow me on Instagram, I made like a really long cathartic post about me breaking up with my girlfriend. I've found that relationships are the most beautiful teacher. They show up in the most interesting ways. It's always mirroring back things within ourselves that need healing. I won't go into too much detail, but pretty much, yeah, since mid-January or February, things were just kind of weird, just up and down. She had really poor communication skills. I feel like she wasn't being very transparent with me, and she wasn't as emotionally available as I would like a partner to be. This is me being vulnerable. I was so attached to the physical, so attached to the body, addicted to the physical sensations, the intimate moments that we had, and I would just completely ignore all of the red flags that were popping up. There were so many instances where my gut was telling me that something was wrong, and then we would just end up having sex, and I would just forget about everything. One of the biggest teachings that I've learned from this relationship is to trust my intuition, to trust my gut. Yeah, we always have to learn it the hard way. Near the tail end of it, she would always be really difficult for me to get a hold of. She wouldn't answer my calls, and she would always leave me on red. And I have this, I don't know, some trauma from this relationship in my 20s where I have this anxious attachment style. And when I don't feel heard or seen, or someone's like not there for me, I just get like really, really antsy and anxious. And normally things in my life rarely make me anxious. I can just breathe it out and just ride through it. Relationships in particular, I don't know, it just triggers me so deeply. I don't know if it comes from a childhood trauma or something, but I have a really difficult time when my partner or someone really close to me doesn't answer me right away. And it's not like I'm demanding like them to be on their phone 24/7, but I expect someone that I really care about to respond within 24 hours because everyone checks their phone multiple times a day, every day. Yeah, I was getting to the point where I was just fucking sick and tired of it. I was tired of being treated so poorly, and after giving her so much, like my whole heart, so many wonderful dinners and all these gifts and flowers and a motorbike and all these things, I'm like, I felt like there was no reciprocation in the relationship. There's no balance at all. It was just me constantly giving and giving and giving and never receiving anything in return. And so it was like a week after her birthday, and she had told me that she was gonna see me on her day off, and I heard nothing from her. I messaged her once. No, I called her in the morning, and she told me that she would let me know. Ended up not answering or replying or calling me back that day. So the next day, I was feeling really anxious, so I went over to her place, and outside of her door was these gifts that I gave her. They were like in the garbage. So I knocked on the door, and her roommate answered and said that she was staying at a friend's house. I'm like, that's interesting. And then so I tried calling her, and then she didn't answer. I feel like this was really stupid on her part, but she posted a story of her having cocktails at a 5-star hotel. And I'm like, there's so many red flags, but this one was just like, okay, she's definitely hanging out with somebody else. I made the decision. My friend Reese was really telling me that I had to make a decision. I was tired of being treated this way, and I just decided to go to her work and confront her about everything. And so she was really surprised when I got there. I asked her what was going on, and she told me that she was tired and seeing all of her friends. I was like, oh, really? I thought you were at the W Hotel. And then instantly she got like wide-eyed, like deer in the headlights. She denied it at first, and then I just kept going and going, and then she realized that she had been caught red-handed. And I just kept asking her, I'm like, why did she do this to me? I'm like, I feel like I've been nothing but so good to her. And she really didn't have anything to say. Like, she told me that she was sorry, and I'm like, what are you sorry for? Lying to me? Cheating on me? Or what are you actually sorry about? Like, not being a terrible girlfriend? Being poor at communicating? What are you actually sorry about? And just, I really got to speak my mind, all the anger that had been stewing in my heart. I felt very good after expressing myself and told her that it was finished. Yeah, when I left, I felt really good. It took such a high form of restraint. I wanted to take her phone and like smash it into 1,000 pieces and chuck it in the ocean. I know never to hit a woman, but I really wanted to like slap her for just being so terrible and so awful to me. I left her work feeling on top of the world. I felt like a huge weight was lifted, and I felt like a fucking man. That I got to just handle it and leave with my pride and my dignity intact. Left with honor without hurting her or just anything that I would have regretted later. The rest of the day was amazing. I came home and threw out my mattress and all my sheets and my pillows because I didn't want to sleep in that energy. She's the only person that I've let into my bed, like the only female that I've let into my home. I felt so betrayed and I felt so lied to. And like, I just feel like with all of the spiritual practice and all the medicine work that I've done, I did not want to take the victim consciousness and like try to see it from a point where, oh, why did she do this to me? Oh, why did this happen to me? Oh, I don't deserve this. I wanted to take full responsibility and full accountability for everything. So I'd really tried to reflect within myself to figure out where I have betrayed someone else, or where have I lied to someone else, like my significant other, or where have I, just been a poor communicator, and I couldn't recall anything in this life. So I talked to my Buddhist friend Benny, and he said that, this kind of karma, it sometimes comes from the previous life. After explaining my situation to him, he said that this is definitely a karmic repayment from a past life. So the way that I'm feeling and all the things that she did to me, I did this to her in the previous life. This whole thing happened to bring everything back into balance. So seeing it from that perspective, I was like, okay, cool. So I did this to her in the previous life, and now she's paying it back and did this to me. So now the debt is paid. And that brought some kind of solace, a little bit. The day after the breakup happened, it was just fucking ups and downs of all these emotions, from like so much anger to so much sadness to missing her so much. And I was just watching so much Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson and all these podcasts about how to deal with breakups. And there was one that really helped me. It was explaining how we create this fantasy of who we think a person is in our eyes. Made up imaginary character based on what we want out of the person, and we completely ignore who the person actually is. And we see everything through rose-tinted glasses. I was so enamored, like so obsessed and infatuated by how cute she was. Her big eyes and just cute face, and was so obsessed with her physical appearance that I just ignored everything else. All the qualities that I would like in a partner, she really didn't have. And I just ignored it because she was so cute. And even though she like abused me mentally and emotionally, I was like, okay, it's okay. She's just so cute. I'll put up with it. Really challenging, just riding the waves of ups and downs. And the biggest challenge was just going from all this pleasure, this oxytocin chemical bond that I had with her, all the dopamine and serotonin just flooding my brain, to completely cut off. It's like ripped off an appendage. The scab just ripped it off and it's just bleeding open. And my friend Mikey from Vicasa said that it's like coming off of a heroin addiction. I've never tried heroin or been addicted to it, but I can imagine that you have your brain flooded with all these feel-good chemicals and then just going completely cold turkey. And it's just been so challenging. And everything here reminds me of her. And it's been so difficult just walking through my place, feeling really alone. And I haven't really had friends around me to just give me that support. So I've just been stewing in my brain. Luckily, I've been doing journaling and talking into a camera when things come up. It's been very cathartic to do that. Yeah, it's been like 3 weeks since it happened. I'm feeling pretty even-keeled now. I feel very almost back to center. I'm realizing that she definitely wasn't the person that I thought she was. I'm very thankful that I got out of it before even more attachment was created, or if I actually caught her cheating, or I feel like the situation could have been so much worse. And like the longer I would have stayed in it, the more pain that I would have been through. So I'm sure that within a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, I will see that the whole thing was a blessing, and that I'm so grateful that it lasted for the time that it did. In the thick of the depression, I was definitely really sad that it ended so soon. I compared it to my time with Rambo, like just such cute, bright, sweet moments with such a wonderful little being, and having it be cut so short so quickly. It's been very challenging. So the reason that I was going to come No, I already booked my ticket back after my Vipassana retreat to come to America. Yeah, I have it scheduled for April 18th and December, January. It was when the relationship was really good. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not gonna, I don't wanna leave her for that long. I think I'm gonna stay in Thailand because I'm comfortable and I'm really in the flow with my teaching and serving Kambo and doing videos for Vikasa. It's just been like really just productive. I have perfect morning routine, wake up 4 hours before sunrise and working and just really solid with my sleep regimen and my diet. Everything's just, I didn't wanna break my flow. But I feel like this was an excuse because I was actually just really comfortable. And listening to how I speak in my yoga classes, it's so important to lean into the discomfort, push yourself into those spaces that are full of discomfort because that's where the growth is. Like my teacher says, there's no growth in the comfort zone. There's no comfort in the growth zone. I already can see that this is a blessing that I'm gonna go back to America in 2 weeks. And I'm gonna be doing a Kambo tour, like serving all my friends in America along the West Coast. It's been so beautiful doing it here in Thailand. I'm almost to 150 sessions. I've served Kambo 150 times since my training in May. My teacher and my colleagues are so proud of me, and I'm very excited to continue being able to serve the medicine in America. So my plan is, I'm gonna arrive in Washington, spend a little time with my sister and see little Henry, and then go down to Utah to help facilitate a Kambo training. There's gonna be like 10 people that are gonna be doing their Kambo certification. I can help assist by taking photos and videos and being a guinea pig so they can serve me. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. And then I'm excited to get back into the teepee with my peyote friends, do some Bikram yoga. It's been so long since I've taken a class. I think since November, I've just been teaching so much, and I'm really looking forward to just getting back on my mat and doing it for myself. I'm excited for Whole Foods. I'm excited just to be in a new place. I feel like I haven't left Koh Samui since when I went to Portugal for my training. So I think it's time for me to take a little break from the island, travel and do some soul searching. I'm gonna make a separate video on quantum forgiveness. I'm gonna go to the temple where we had our first date, and I'm gonna write this letter of forgiveness and just forgiving her completely. In a very quantum perspective, I'm actually forgiving myself for what I did to her. And then I'm apologizing to her for what I did to her in the past life. And hopefully that can break the karmic cycle. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a very cathartic thing to do. And I don't feel angry at her anymore. I'm so grateful that my mom was here at the time, because after the breakup, I served myself 7 dots, a heroic heartbreak dose, with the intention of just releasing all the resentment, all the anger, all the pain. And it was such a challenging session, but immediately I felt so much lighter because I wasn't carrying that burden of being so pissed off at her. I still miss who I thought she was. I miss the little moments and being able to like care for someone and love them and just give them everything. It was really sweet, and yeah, I hope that she feels the same. I've been reading this book called 8 Laws of Love by Jay Shetty, and he explains that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is responsible for critical thinking and knowing the difference between right and wrong, it's not fully developed until you're 25. So looking at her, she probably isn't even conscious the fact that I have feelings and that she hurt me. She just... So I have a lot of compassion now, and I'm not really like in this space of just being pissed and being a victim or anything of that sort. I'm just accepting it as it is. As all the Buddhist teachings say, it's our resistance. It's not the events in our life that create the suffering. It's our reaction to them that creates the suffering. So whenever something happens in your life, whether it's good or bad, when it's something good and you attach to it, it creates suffering once it's not in your life anymore. Or if something that comes in your life that you don't want and there's aversion, you're pushing it away, that's also the suffering. So it's very interesting to be teaching this all the time in my yoga classes and then experiencing it and trying to put it into practice. It's been a monumental task. Been growing a lot, and even during the relationship, I remember I went into an ayahuasca session and I was just laughing so hard at how much suffering I was creating for myself. Like, all the suffering that we experience is 99% self-imposed suffering. Being able to zoom out and detach and look at it from a higher perspective was very very helpful, and just not to take things so seriously. Yeah, it's been rough. I'm finally coming out of it. You know, one thing that I've been super grateful for is my discipline. If I didn't have a really strong discipline, life would be a fucking shit show right now. I'm so thankful that I didn't waver from my diet. I didn't go eat ice cream and binge on a bunch of shit food. I didn't stop going to the gym. I continued teaching yoga. I continued being of service and serving Kambo. I just continued doing all my things, going to bed on time, staying hydrated, thinking of things that I'm grateful for, just like consistently. Even though I was feeling really sad and depressed and just alone, I continued doing all of these things. And this was like grounding, like the anchor that kept me from flying away. I'm so grateful that I didn't even consider taking a sip of alcohol or going out to the club or trying to find another rebound or another girlfriend that I could just replace her with. I felt like a lot of the YouTube videos that I watched, when you rebound that quickly, you're just left with more pain and you miss her more, and it's just not the highest vibrational thing that you can do for yourself. 14 days. I got a lot of stuff to do before I go, but I hope, I can just upload these slightly edited but not super produced videos where I just share what's going on. And I want to start vlogging again, or making some kind of share when I'm like venturing through America. Instagram stories are great, but they're so fleeting, and I think there's something special about like sharing the moment in that way. But I definitely want to have something like this that's more long form and me just talking openly and vulnerably about how I'm feeling. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say is that if you're going through something really difficult in your life right now, I promise you, this is what everybody told me when I was going through it, that this too shall pass. I teach this in my yoga classes, that this is the law of impermanence. One thing that is for sure in this life is that nothing is permanent. Like when we're holding really long postures for minutes at a time, I always tell them to just observe as the sensation of pain arises, observe as the thoughts are swirling about, observe as you want to move out of the posture, and do not react. Just allow it to move through you. You can observe as the sensations arise, observe as they pass away. And this is the law of nature. In Vipassana, in the silent meditation retreats, they always say anicca, anicca, which means changing, changing, constantly changing. Nothing lasts forever. It's like the sun is shining, the clouds will pass over, and then the sun shines again. There's nothing that stays forever, and that's for certain. So knowing that deep in your heart should give you some faith that you will eventually come out of the pits, the rabbit holes of dark depression. I feel when you're in it, it's really difficult to see your way out of it, or even imagine yourself being happy again. But then as more time passes, all it takes is time. We live in a three-dimensional reality where as time passes, things continue to change. So you just allow the time to pass, do the things that fill your soul, and spend time with the people that you love. And then eventually, things will get easier. You'll wake up one day and then the burden, the weight, the emotional baggage is not so heavy on your shoulders. And then you can breathe a little bit. Feel a little bit lighter, and you continue doing your disciplines, showing up, doing the things when you don't want to, and continue doing that, and then you'll become lighter. You slowly start to come out of this darkness. I hope that's reassuring for you if you're going through it, because I knew in my heart when I was in it that it wasn't going to be forever, that eventually that I would come out of it. And now that I'm finally starting to come out of it, and I think as the time comes closer to me to come to America, it's going to be a really fun trip. I need it. Missing my peeps in America, and there's a lot of things that I want to do out there, and it's gonna be really sweet. Yeah, I think I've been talking forever now. I think I'm rambling, but if you've made it to the end, thank you so much. Consider subscribing, because I'm gonna start making more consistent YouTube content again, and follow me on Instagram, because I post there pretty much every day. Drop a comment, let me know something difficult that you've been through and how you managed to get out of it, and maybe this will help other people that are watching the video too. All right, see you guys in the next one.